Astley here, play-by-play for the Edmonton Canucks. You got it locked in the line change, a Vancouver Canucks podcast.
What's up, Canucks Nation? Welcome back to the Line Change. And if you're new, welcome to the Line Change. Today, we've got a very special guest joining us. He is an associate editor for Canucks Army, also a 2023-2024 recipient of the Botchford Project, known for what's been dubbed as Cole's Notes over on X, and an all-around great guy. I actually had the chance to meet him at the most recent Canucks Army watch party. Please welcome to the podcast none other than Tyson Cole.
What's going on, buddy? Thanks for having me. I appreciate that. I've never had a warm welcome like that before, so I appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Good to see you. I know you and I talked briefly at the last watch party. Hopefully, I'll see you at the next one as well. But for those of you who may not know who you are, introduce yourself briefly. I know you have limited time, so introduce yourself.
Well, I mean, you did a pretty good job of it. My name is Tyson Cole, associate editor over at Canucks Army. As you said, I was a part of the 23-24 Botchford Project alumni, me, Izzy, and Ian. So, yeah, I mean, now everything's just going well, and it's my first year kind of in the arena covering the team up close and personal. So it's been a good time, and hopefully you've all been following along.
Yeah. Well, you kind of answered my one of my questions there about how you got started at Canucks Army. Just want to ask, what was it like being a Botchford Project recipient?
Oh, dude, it was awesome. Like, to be quite honest, I didn't know too much about it leading up to the project. But then once I, did some research on it, saw that, there's a lot of people that work in the Canucks media right now that are Botchford Project alum. I was like, okay, this is such a good opportunity. So I waited for the application to come out. I applied, and it's funny, I got a story. So we're supposed to pitch a story to like what you would write for Canucks.com. And so what I did is I was writing my story, and I was like, oh gosh, like 2,000 words, like for just a quick pitch. I was like, okay, well, I don't want to go too few words, but I don't want to hit the 2,000. So I'll just do like 1,800 words. So I finished writing, and it takes me until, 30 minutes before it's due. And then I go to click submit, and then it was like, oh yeah, too many words. I didn't read it properly. It was characters, not words. So I quickly had half an hour to condense 1,800 words into about 200, while also still trying to get the premise of what my article was going to be about. So that was a mad dash. That was stressful and everything, but we ended up getting it through. And I was lucky enough to be a recipient, and it's so cool. Like, just the opportunity, the connections that you made. And it's such a good initiative that Cat Botchford puts on, and the Canucks. And I mean, if you look at the alumni, there's a ton of us that are currently in the Canucks media. So it really works. And literally just this year, Jeffrey Kent, I ran into him in Abbotsford in an Abbotsford game, and he was asking me about it. I was like, dude, you have to apply, because it literally changed my life, and it could do the same for you. And now, he just, he got accepted this year when he applied, and he just had his first story published over on CanucksArmy.com today. So, I mean, it works. And I encourage all of you to listen to others that are listening to this. If you want, if you want a shot at this, like, the Botchford Project is definitely where to start.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I actually almost did sign up this past year. Couldn't come up with an article in time, so hopefully next year I might try it.
You got a few months to think about it, buddy. So
yeah, definitely we'll look into it next year. I don't know too much about Botch, but obviously, I did my research and was like, man, this is just a great initiative. And I'll definitely for sure look into it. But what we wanted to talk to you today about is that Zeev Buium article you posted on Canucks Army. I already told you how I felt about it. You and I had a nice little exchange. I thought it was fantastic. I know a lot of guys like Quads and Jeff Patterson have kind of given you your flowers on it. There's been a lot of coverage on it. I obviously did my breakdown of it. Just talk to us about the article and just those quotes from Zeev.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. And Zeev is such a good, well-spoken kid. Like, if I'm sure you've seen it, watching his media availabilities after games or other articles, like, his quotes are just awesome. Like, I had my game plan to go into that interview, it was following the 6-2 loss against Tampa. I wanted to just talk to them about, they were just sitting on the bench staring at nothing right ahead of them as all their teammates are now in the dressing room. And that's what I wanted to go into it as. And Zeev just ran away with it. So I literally just threw everything out the window of what my plan was to do. And I just started going off the culture thing and everything like that. And what really stood out is he kept saying like connected, and it's about being connected on the or off the ice before you can really get connected on the ice and have that translate over. And some of the stories he was telling me, man, like as a teenager having all the boys over just to hang out, like you didn't have to talk about anything. It didn't have to be about hockey. You just want to get to know each other and then build that camaraderie, and that, will translate on the ice. And I mean, it worked out for him. Another quote that he said that really stood out to me is, we didn't want to disappoint each other, and losing was disappointing. And so they just went out and won, because they went from the worst team in US NTDP history to winning the championship that year, and beating 14 college teams in a row. And it was just about building that culture. And so that was kind of the whole premise of the conversation. And he was talking about how he wants to bring that to Vancouver. And I mean, you're seeing it now. Everything seems lighter in the locker room, just because these young guys are so infectious with their personalities and everything. And hopefully the vets kind of catch on, and it hits them as well.
Sure. You also did another article talking about, potentially extending William, especially this summer. Talk a little bit about that. I know also in that, or not in that article, but I think you mentioned it, may have been either on Convo or Rink Wide. You threw out the idea of William being a future captain. I heard you got a little bit of flack for that. Don't worry. I'm saying the same thing after seeing those quotes. Maybe not now. Maybe 5, maybe 6 years from now, I could see him being a future captain, especially with what he said about culture. That really stood out for me. So I'm right there with you on him being a future captain of this team. Maybe not, but definitely future captain material, no matter which team he ends up being when he does become a captain.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tweet that I put out initially. I was just like, I just wrapped up a conversation with William, and he's my next pick, because he has that leadership qualities, like just from all those quotes, like taking the initiative to have the guys over as a teenager, and like I mentioned already, build that camaraderie. And it's about the team. It's about not just becoming teammates. It's about becoming best friends and brothers. And then that's where you see the success, because it all came back to being connected. And that's really what it seemed like. And I understand that I don't think anybody should be a captain anytime soon. I don't think they should rush to name Filip Hronek a captain. Like, you can be a leader on the team without wearing an A or a C, like you don't need a letter. Like think about 2 years ago after JT was traded, and they didn't have anybody else to really wear the other A. And so they just kept passing it along, right? Like Marcus Pettersson wore it, Garland wore it, Besser wore it. Now this year he's wearing it full time. But, you see all those leaders, they don't need to be wearing an A to be able to do that. And so you can just sit on it for a little bit and wait until William's ready, because if he's going to act like that and have those quotes and everything, and then he has the qualities to me. Obviously, it should take some time, though. Like, I don't think a 20-year-old is necessarily ready just yet. You see young captains like that, like Celebrini could be a captain right now, the Sharks, but you see Crosby and McDavid and stuff. Like, those are different type of situations. But yeah, I mean, I could see that in a few years, and that depends. Like, I mean, Braden Coots could come in and he could be the runaway leader of the team, but then William can wear an A. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be the C, but yeah. And I just wrote about it was just a news article about the William extension. I didn't have really any opinion on it, but I mean, obviously, if I'm saying he should be the captain, in a few years, I obviously would believe that it's kind of smart to lock him up as soon as possible, especially because this is the last summer to get the 8-year deal. As soon as the new CBA kicks in, it'll go down to 7. And so that'll be valuable in the negotiation process this summer for the Canucks. And we'll see. I mean, there were some comps thrown out there, like Jackson Lacombe and Luke Hughes. And I don't know if that's necessarily the best because Bouillon only has 60 games of NHL experience. But I do think, like, if you look around the league, look at Montreal, right? They've locked up all of their young talent pretty much, except for Demidov because he's not eligible yet. But like Lane Hudson, Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, if you look at their contracts, those are going to be the best contracts in the league for the next few years. And why is that? Because they locked them up early. You know, you take the shots. Think about Jack Hughes. You know, he'd shown flashes, but he hadn't, you know, broke out to the star that he would become. But they locked him in. They were like, okay, we can see what you're going to become. We'll lock you in 8x8 right now. And yeah, sure, you're not worth that right at this moment, but in 2-3 years down the road, when you're one of the top players in the NHL, that $8 million is going to look like pennies.
Absolutely. Thoughts on the season? I know it's been a season to forget for a lot of Canucks fans, but your just overall thoughts on the season up until this point.
Well, disaster. I don't know. Like, for the Canucks on the ice or for like me personally?
It can be both.
Yeah, I mean, Canucks on the ice, obviously massive disappointment. They came in with playoff aspirations and hasn't gone that way. I don't know. I'm eager to kind of hear management kind of talk about what they think went wrong because, you know, after Hughes was traded, you hear, oh yeah, we knew that he likely wasn't going to stay before like coming into the season. So if you knew that, why did you then make all these moves like extending Garland, extending Demko, extending Besser when like you knew he was probably going to go away? So why was it so apparent to keep his friends here? You know, like I understand, oh, maybe that'll entice him, but you know who Quinn is. He wants to win at every level, and they weren't going to be doing that here. So just because you locked up his friends, that's not going to change his situation. You know, he has other friends. He has 2 brothers in the league that he'll go play with. You know, he can find other friends. So I didn't like that move. We'll see. And now it's screwed them over. You know, like now you have, what is it, over 13 million in goaltenders for next season, and then you're in the same situation as you were then with Nikita Tolopilo. You know, you had to trade Shilovs because you have Lankinen and Demko, and now you're in the same situation again. So now you're going to have to keep 3 goalies, or you're going to risk losing Tolopilo for nothing. So it was just bad decisions that kind of led to all these bad, like this whole bad season. These last few months have been brutal for them. And yeah, I mean, me personally, I don't know. It's my first year kind of in the rink, as I said. So I'm still having fun every day, being able to be there and cover the team and kind of learning the ropes and everything. But so I'm still excited, even though, you know, some people aren't with how the teams played this year.
For sure. Moving to something a little bit more positive, and that's Gavin McKenna. Obviously, there's a lot of hype over McKenna and, of course, the draft, especially as Canuck fans, you know, got a potential. I mean, I think you can kind of almost safely say it's a lock for a bit of a top 3 pick. But your thoughts on Gavin, and do you think the Canucks should, you know, pick between if it's either Stenberg or McKenna? Are you on the McKenna hype train? Stenberg, I think you mentioned a while back you kind of went McKenna. Has that maybe changed at all, or are you still, you know, rolling with Gavin?
Well, first off, I'll say I'm not a prospect expert. That is definitely Dave Hall, but I have done, you know, some research at the top of the draft because, you know, that's the exciting part. As soon as the season kind of went downhill, you're like, okay, what about the future? So I've been McKenna first overall the entire year. I haven't really wavered because if you look at and I'm speaking just for the Canucks here, if you look at what they need, like, okay, look at the players. You see the flashiness and the excitement of McKenna. So like he can put up like over 100 points. He can be that superstar, you know, like the Kucherov light, you know, where he's putting up 100 points on the wing and he's driving play from the wing. But he has to hit that potential, right? But then you look at Ivar Stenberg, he's playing against men, and he's more NHL ready than Gavin McKenna probably. and he's better defensively and all that. He's a more well-rounded player right now, but why do you need that right now? Why do you need to insert an Ivar Stenberg into your lineup right now? You're not going to be winning anytime soon. So why not go for the guy with the highest potential, because right now the team needs a play driver, a play driving offensive force. And I'm not saying Stenberg isn't that, but McKenna is far better at that. And if it translates, he's going to be, like I said, one of the top play driving wingers in the league. And so I've always kind of been on McKenna's train, even when there was talk like, oh yeah, he's not translating it to the NCAA or whatever. And it's like, yeah, he's an 18-year-old kid. He's now made the jump to a bigger and better league, and he wants to challenge himself. That's good. And then he figured it out. And also, if you look at Penn State, I talked to a reporter out in Penn State because I wanted to get to the bottom of this as well. I wrote a feature about it over on Daily Faceoff. And I just wanted to ask, like, who's he playing with? Like, is he playing with any NHL talent or anything like that? And the answer was no, because he's playing with like second and third liners because they have the top line that they've had for a year or two now that they really didn't want to split up. And so Gavin's been stuck kind of playing with guys who, no offense to them, but they won't even sniff the NHL. And so he's trying to transition to a league while playing with guys who won't necessarily make it there, right? And then he started figuring it out, and he's been much better. And now you're seeing Stenberg kind of have that decline. And I'm not saying Stenberg's a bad pick. If the Canucks lose the draft lottery and fall to second and they get Stenberg, that's a home run still. But I'm just saying, if I had my pick at the top of the draft, what you need is a home run swinger like Gavin McKenna. And I mean, I think the pick is obvious, especially for what the Canucks need.
For sure. Thoughts on the Ruck Twins? I know a lot of people have been talking about the Ruck Twins. I know some new rankings have come out, which kind of maybe dwindled Canucks' chances of drafting them both. I believe it was Craig Button had his newest rankings come out, and he had them, I think he had one of them in the top 12 and one of them shortly after. So what are your thoughts on the Ruck Twins quickly?
I got to see them at the WHL Top Prospects game, and don't get me wrong, they're great players and everything, and they're going to be NHLers. But I don't know. I think it's a better story than it actually would be in Vancouver. You know what I mean? Like, it's a cool story. Oh yeah, they got to get their second pairing of twins or whatever, and it's like the Sedins were different, man. They were selected second and third overall, like. Coming into the year, not coming into the year, but just until lately, Marcus wasn't even supposed to be in the first round. And now he is. Like, everyone's been talking that Liam's better and everything. So you could see that where one of them goes and then Marcus falls a little bit because they're like, okay, well, we don't want to take Marcus without Liam. But that's another factor to think about it. Like, are you going to be able to draft them both? And for two, if you don't, are they going to be as good of players as they are with each other, without each other? So that's a couple things to weigh. I don't know. I think it's a better story than it would actually work out. Obviously, it would be fun, but I just think with the Canucks where they're at right now, I don't think they should be drafting for stories. I think they need help literally everywhere, and so just take best player available no matter what, and let the chips fall where they may, I guess.
For sure. What are the vibes like down at Rogers Arena these days?
Fun. I mean, recently after the trade deadline, it seems like everybody's in high spirits. After losses before the trade deadline, it was miserable, mopey. Now something changed where I guess they kind of came to grips with where the season's going, and they knew that, they're going to have an early summer and they're not going to be making the playoffs. And then, they were like, oh yeah, we lost, and they're pissed off that they lost, but they weren't down on themselves, down in the dumps and everything. They're still kind of up talking, like, oh yeah, like that play was good, but still lost at the end of the day. It just seems more light and everything. And I do credit the young guys a lot for that, because think about what the vets have gone through over the last few seasons, right? Like, so much change, like heartbreak. Like, you go from winning the division one goal away from going to the Western Conference Final, and then now you're in a full rebuild 2 years later. Like, you got to feel bad for Petey and Besser and Hronek, who lived that. But so it made sense that they were a little down in the dumps, but now, like, they had to change their mindset and change their focus. And now that the young guys are here, they're like breathing new life and new energy into the vets, and it seems to be working out really well. So, it's not necessarily a slag. It's not fun going to the rink anymore.
For sure. And I know you have very limited time, so one more question from me. A lot of fan discourse about this topic, but I want to know which side you're on when it comes to firing Foote or keeping him for next season.
I don't know. I don't want to, I talk to Foote every day at the rink. You never want to hope a guy doesn't have his job, like, you don't want a guy to be out of his job or anything. But, I think Foote's a really good assistant coach, and he's trying his best right now with what he was provided. But yeah, I mean, I think there needs to be a change, and there needs to be some consequences for how the season went, and I think a big talking point right now is, are the young players developing? I would say Liam Ogren is developing. He's doing well in his role, but if you look at the defensemen, and I know I just talked up how awesome they are culture wise, but have you really seen them take that next step that you want to see at this point? I wouldn't say so. And that's not I'm not trying to, bad talk them or anything, but, just haven't seen it. And so, is it a system issue? I mean, systems have been an issue the whole time, the whole season, right? So if you make the change and bring somebody else in, and it kind of livesen up everybody, I think that would probably be the best change. And I know, this ownership group doesn't want to pay people not to work for them. I understand that. I mean, they're running a business at the end of the day, but there has to be consequences when something like this happens. Like, you can't come into the season expecting to be playoff competitors and fall like they have. And so somebody needs to pay for it. And I think it's easier if you change the coach, change the the one making all the decisions. And I mean, you're seeing that some of his decisions now that, people are questioning, and it seems like not only the fan base, but, some of the players have kind of lost trust in the message he's sending. And when that happens, how can you build forward, like, on the ice, And so I don't want to say oh yeah, they should fire Foote, but I think, a coaching change was probably what's best for the team, because you see what happened in Montreal, right? Like, they had a young team that they were growing up with, and they brought in St. Louis, and he was great. He was like exactly what they needed. And so you can have that developmental coach. And I'm saying they should bring in another first year head coach and see how that works. I know they just did it with Foote, but it clearly didn't work out. So you can move on and try again.
For sure. I had a comment in here. I think this is regards to the Botchford Project from buddy mine. Is it just for young people?
I don't believe so. No, I think you can be whatever age you want. They don't care about age. They just care about, what kind of candidate you are. And I mean, there's lots of websites out there that you can start writing for to build up your portfolio. And then you can come with a strong candidacy when you apply.
Sure. All right. Well, this has been great, Tyson. I know you got to run. By the way, I love that you're in the S&P studios in the background there. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I live over an hour away, and so I got to deal with tunnel traffic, so it's not really worth driving home from the rink, take an hour, go through the tunnel, or chill at home for an hour, and then go back, wait in an hour's worth of tunnel traffic. It's just not worth it. So I'll just come back here and chat with you. People can find me at Tyson_Cole on Twitter. And as he mentioned right off the hop, associate editor over at Canucks Army. Check out all my content over there.
Awesome. This has been great, buddy. Again, hopefully I'll see you at the next watch party. We'll hopefully have a bit more of a chat talking about your articles, and I'll keep bringing down as many great articles as you post. Obviously, I love your stuff. This has been great, and thanks for doing this, man.
Of course. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks again. All right, that was Tyson Cole over on Canucks Army. You guys can, as you mentioned, find him on Canucks Army. He's right there. You can also find him on X, Tyson_Cole. This has been great. I got through a lot of good stuff that I wanted to talk to him about. So this has been great. And thank you, Urban, for that question on the Botchford Project. Been trying to get Tyson on for a little bit since that article, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. And let's take a look at the NHL draft odds for today. Let me just pull it up. All right. Why not? Canucks are playing tonight, so let's go ahead and just go with the Canucks and Ducks, or sorry, not Ducks, Kings. A different California-based team. The Kings are a -1.5 and a +145 on the puck line. The Canucks are a +1.5 and a -175 on the puck line. Kings are a -175 on the money line. Canucks are a +145 on the money line. And of course, a reminder, these odds are subject to change. And of course, please play responsibly. On that note, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this Talking Canucks interview segment, none other than DraftKings Sportsbook, which is, of course, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois, 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario, restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which will expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. This is a limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL, all rights reserved. This video has been a presentation of both DraftKings Sportsbook as well as the Hockey Podcast Network. Be sure to check out the network for your favorite podcast covering your favorite team at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com, the home of hockey podcasts, where it's every team, everywhere. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the line change. Be sure to have your notifications turned on so you don't miss more in-depth analysis of your Vancouver Canucks. Drop your comments down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next line change.